Nobody ever really noticed Marcus. He came in every morning at exactly 7:45, head slightly down, a worn canvas bag on his shoulder, and a quiet smile that he gave to anyone who happened to look his way. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? He worked in the maintenance department of Hartwell Technologies, a gleaming corporate tower where suits cost more than his monthly rent. Marcus was not the kind of man people remembered after meetings. He was the kind of man who fixed the lights before you even realized they had flickered. He'd been working at Hartwell for 6 years, and in those 6 years, he had never been late, never complained, and never once asked for recognition. What most people did not know, what nobody had bothered to ask, was that Marcus was raising his 8-year-old daughter, Sophia, entirely on his own. Every morning he dropped her at school. Every evening he picked her up, helped with homework at the kitchen table, made dinner from scratch and read her to sleep. His world was full, even if it was quiet. Tuesday started like any other day, except that it didn't. The executive floor was buzzing with tension. The company's most important client, a European conglomerate called Voss International, had flown their CEO, Mr. Heinrich Voss, all the way from Vienna for a major partnership meeting. The conference room was polished to perfection. The catering team had set up an elegant spread. The senior leadership of Hartwell stood in little nervous clusters, straightening ties and rehearsing talking points. And then the coffee machine died. It was not a small machine. It was a towering, imported Italian espresso system that had cost the company $11,000 and was the pride of the executive floor. It made a sound like a wounded engine, flashed an error code nobody understood, and went completely silent. The head of facilities, Daniel, went pale. The receptionist called 3 different technicians. None could come for at least 2 hours. Mr. Voss was due to arrive in 40 minutes. Someone muttered that the client drank only proper espresso, never drip coffee, and that starting the meeting without it would be a cultural offense. The panic on the floor was almost amusing, except that it wasn't. That was when Marcus happened to walk past the corridor with his toolbox. On his way to fix a loose panel in the storage room, Daniel saw him and almost lunged. "Marcus, please, can you look at this machine? I know it's not your usual thing, but we are desperate." Marcus set down his bag, looked at the machine calmly, and asked for 2 minutes. He studied the error code, opened the side panel, examined the internal components with steady, unhurried hands. Checked the pressure valve, cleared. A small blockage in the extraction chamber. Reset the thermostat calibration, and closed the panel back up. He pressed the power button. The machine hummed to life, warm and smooth, and produced a perfect shot of espresso within 60 seconds. The room genuinely gasped. Daniel grabbed Marcus by the arm. "That was incredible. How did you know how to do that?" Marcus shrugged lightly. "My father repaired appliances back home. I grew up watching him. Nobody asked where home was. They thanked him, and he picked up his toolbox to leave. That was when the elevator doors opened and Heinrich Voss stepped onto the floor, accompanied by 2 members of his team, speaking rapidly in German. The Hartwell executives froze because their translator, arranged for the meeting, had texted 5 minutes ago to say he was stuck in traffic. The room went quiet in that particular way that rooms go quiet when something is about to go wrong publicly. Voss looked around, switched smoothly to English, and remarked pleasantly that the floor smelled wonderfully of coffee. His assistant leaned in and whispered something in French. Voss nodded and replied in French. Then his second colleague said something in Spanish. Marcus, who was still near the door and had not yet left, responded to the Spanish comment quietly and naturally, as if he had not even decided to speak. It simply came out. Every head in the room turned. Voss looked at him with sudden, sharp interest and switched to German. Marcus answered in German. Voss raised an eyebrow and tried Italian. Marcus replied in Italian without missing a beat. The room had stopped breathing. Voss smiled, genuinely delighted now, and tried Portuguese. Marcus answered. Then Mandarin? Marcus answered. Then Arabic? Marcus answered again. And this time there was a warmth in his voice, a softness, as though that language lived somewhere close to his heart. Heinrich Voss stood very still for a moment, looking at this man in a maintenance uniform holding a toolbox. And then he began to laugh, not mockingly, but with the deep, delighted laugh of a man who has just witnessed something rare and beautiful. He walked over and extended his hand. "Who are you?" he asked. Marcus shook his hand. "Marcus, I work maintenance." Voss shook his head slowly. "No, you are something else entirely. Where did you learn all of this?" Marcus was quiet for a moment, and then he said simply and without drama, "After my wife passed, there were a lot of nights when Sophia was asleep and I needed somewhere to go in my mind. Languages gave me that. Each one is a different world. I have been traveling, I suppose, without ever leaving the apartment. The entire floor was silent. The Hartwell CEO, Robert Chambers, who had been standing near the window and had watched all of this unfold, looked at Marcus with an expression that was difficult to name. There's something between embarrassment and wonder. He had walked past this man hundreds of times. He had never once asked his name. The Voss meeting was, by every account, the best Hartwell had ever conducted. Marcus stayed at Voss's personal request to assist with translation and to participate in the conversation. He sat at the table in his work, clothes, and spoke with the ease and grace of a diplomat. Within a month, Marcus had been offered a newly created position, International Relations Coordinator, with a salary that meant Sophia could join the after-school art program she had been asking about for a year. He still carried himself quietly. He still smiled at everyone who happened to look his way. But now more people looked. The lesson that Tuesday left behind was not really about languages or broken machines or even remarkable talent. It was about the invisible people we walk past every single day, the ones who carry entire worlds inside them, who have survived grief and built beauty from it, who show up faithfully and completely, asking for nothing. Greatness, it turns out, does not always wear a suit. Sometimes it carries a toolbox, and sometimes it just needs one person to finally ask, "Who are you?" If this story touched your heart, please show your support. Like this video to spread kindness. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Subscribe to Kindness True Stories for more stories that remind us what truly matters.